Hey everyone, Scapegoat here, and today we are going to condense the first 5 episodes of Yu-Gi-Oh! 7 into a nice chunky review so you can have it all in one place. Yes, I watched it, so you don't have to, so without further ado, let's jump into it. Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s is the 7th Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime series. It aired first on April 4th, 2020. Yu-Gi-Oh! 7 introduces the new protagonist, Rook, who strives to be the king of duels. At least that's what the anime is making me seem to believe. However, the real hero of the story is Yuga Oto, who is the creator of the new mechanic Rush Duels, which he uses a new version of the traditional Yu-Gi-Oh! Card as its counterpart. The setting of the story, as they gracefully show us within the first 30 seconds via Yuga's Power Ranger-esque robot, is as follows. In the not-so-distant future, Goha City is governed by the largest corporation, Goha Corp. Everything from schooling to dueling rules to much of daily life. The megacorp Goha Corp runs the metropolis called Goha City. Goha Corp doesn't just control dueling, they also have a major say in the daily necessities of the citizens, such as food, clothing, and even shelter. The show follows Yuga, who attends Goha 7th Elementary, who decides to change this world, which is too cramped for kids, and battles with his road, Rush Duel, while believing in his creations. Now that we laid out the groundwork, let's go over the meat of the conversation, the characters. The design has significantly changed since the last few eras of Yu-Gi-Oh!, taking a much more buddy fight approach in terms of colorful art style, as well as their stylization of art. To some, this is already a turn-off, and I would once agree to that. However, watching the last 5 episodes, the art kinda grew to me. Something that hasn't grown onto me is the age range of the character cast, which in older Yu-Gi-Oh! It's been much more of a predominant above the age of 13 type of cast. However, currently now that's not the case. Just for a brief history, Yugi was below the age of 18, however, in Dark Side of the Dimensions was portrayed as being a high school student. Jaden ended the series as a 17-year-old. Yusei was 18. Yuma, being the youngest, was 13, which he wasn't received well as a character. Yuya was 14, and in Vrains we had Yusaku, who was 16. Traditionally, the characters have been all above the age of 13, and commonly high schoolers, which was much more of a relatable feeling. Starting in Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s, we achieve the youngest protagonist yet, Yuga, who shows up at age 11, as well as being set in an elementary school setting. I feel as the age factor, as opposed to the art style, is the more so reason why people choose to not watch 7s. Well, that and as opposed to it not being able to be streamed. Following Yuga, the main cast includes Yuga's rival, or so to speak, Rook, Roman, the mysterious tag-along girl, and Gakuto, the school's student council president. If there's one interesting thing about the characters, it's that Yuga shares traits with all of the prior protagonists of the series Yu-Gi-Oh! Yuga has a love for spellcasters, much like Yugi. Similar to Jaden and Yuma, he is very friendly, optimistic, and passionate about dueling, just not enough to care about being the king of duels. In terms of Yusei, he is quite skilled in engineering for an 11-year-old for some reason. And he has invented similar things such as a dual bike, which reflects Yusei and his dual runner. Much like Yuya, he is a pioneer to a new set of rules and or a mechanic in Yu-Gi-Oh! And finally, in relation to Yusaku, he is quite capable of computer programming. With that, we find ourselves in episode 1. Yuga, being fed up with the stifling rules, decides to venture out and make his own set of rules that will let you go all out from the start and end quickly, aka the perfect selling point for kids. Yuga has several strikes on his record, and one more error can ban his account. Enter Rook, the self-proclaimed #1 duelist of Goha 7th Elementary. Rook overhears Yuga and decides to talk to him after class. All the while Yuga essentially is ignoring him, Rook decides to use his mysterious power to somehow shut off his electronics. Rook and Yuga end up committing crimes by trespassing on private property to duel a mysterious spooky ghost. A hologram man. I just prefer the term ghost. The legend being, if you are able to defeat this said hologram man, it will open up the road needed to pave a new path to dueling. Rook explaining that win or lose, you get a strike on your record, which Rook displays his already banned account, warning Yuga. Yuga hears enough and decides to go for it. Enter Roman and Gakuto. Roman, who was mysteriously waiting in the background taking pictures of the cast the whole episode, and Gakuto, who was keeping tabs on everyone. They all watch Yuga duel, and to no surprise, Yuga wins with his ace monster, Seven Road Magician, who slayed the Blue Eyes White Dragon. This pleases the Hologram Man, who allows Yuga to pave the way for new dueling, rush duels. Everyone's duel disc changes the model into the shape of a 7, as well as everyone's strikes being removed from their account. Yuga, not really caring at all that much about being the king of duels, would much more rather appreciate everyone just rush dueling, invites Rook to take the throne, which becomes an ongoing gag joke with each episode. Starting in episode 2, we delve into each character, this episode being Rook. Rook wanting to keep their meeting with the Hologram Man a secret, which Yuga agrees to, leads to Yuga blabbering about it the first chance he gets. This angers Rook, who challenges Yuga to a duel where if he loses, he must keep it a secret. The two duel with a pretty back and forth fight. I'm going to break the script for a slight second about a notable misplay that Yuga did make. He used his trap card Curtain Sparks to reduce the second Twin Edge Dragon's attack by 500 attack points, which reduces the attack monster's attack, which he'll do less damage as it attacks twice. However, the smarter play for Yuga in this scenario would have been to use it on the very first attack that Rook did, which was his Dragolite crashing into Yuga's Dark Sorcerer. This would have saved him some life points, as well as kept Yuga's monster on the field and Rook losing 500 life points. Ultimately, Yuga does lose this duel, and Rook does summon his ace monster, Rush Dragon Dragers, who can attack twice, reduced his life points down to 0, and won with 100 life points. If Yuga had done the trap card play that I had mentioned before, he would have won the duel. However, this wasn't made known in the anime, this is just an observation that I known, and what can I say, king of duels, am I right? This time, the villains at Goha Corp are on to rush duels, and they are removing all information and references to it. This brings us to episode 3, where we focus on Romin. We finally get to delve into the mysterious Romin, who has no interest in rush duels, but has mysteriously been tagging out of nowhere with the current cast. After begging Romin, she finally gives in and decides to duel Yuga, letting her borrow a deck. The turns go back and forth, with Romin summoning a monster that Yuga did not include in her deck with a powerful effect, which is the only card that she truly owned, so this kind of took Yuga back. She got it from a concert from her favorite pop star idol, which is, pretty interesting backstory. While seeming like Yuga is about to lose, he does come back and summons his ace monster, and then proceeds to overkill her using the effect when he didn't need to. But he just wants to duel all out, so pretty cool. Episode 4 focuses on the student council president Gakuto. Seemingly overworked with his duties, a normal 12-year-old student council president must assist with such as rugby. Gakuto eventually slips up with his own set of rules, such as running through the hallways. Gakuto ultimately giving in, dueling Yuga, wagering his status as a student council president as an ante. Gakuto appearing to have a stun deck perfect for battling against Yuga, and his ace monster prevents tribute summoning monsters level 7 or higher. This gives him an upper hand against Yuga. However, Yuga ends up summoning a new Dark Magician Girl S clone that can special summon the new 7-star Magician. This monster is called 7-star Witch, and by doing this, Yuga ends up winning. Gakuto goes through with his resignation of the student council president, but only to obtain the title once again, as he has voted for it again. The most recent episode is episode 5. We derail from the trope from the last few episodes, which was to explore the main cast. As opposed to that, we now delve into fighting random characters. This episode brought us the Newspaper Club, in which Yuga and company are unhappy with an article that was falsely printed slandering rush duels. Rook, angered by this, decides to duel the Newspaper Club. Rook ends up dueling Bakuro, who uses a reporter deck and uses a bunch of newspaper related cards, such as a very PG looking card. I'm sure Rule 34 will have fun with this, but he does end up eventually bringing out his new ace monster, Newsflash Machine Toughroyd, who is not a Viacroid from Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, sadly. Bakuro ends up summoning 3 copies of this card, as well as placing Rook's ace monster on the bottom of his deck, pushing Rook into a corner. Rook, being a main character, activates a card that shuffles his deck, and is able to draw the card he essentially needs to wipe out Bakuro's board and summon his ace monster. His opponent ends up bringing back one of his Toughroids, which only benefits Rook as his monster can attack twice. Rook ends up winning, and Bakuro ends up having a change of heart about Rush Duels. Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s will be on hiatus for quite a while, and when it returns, episode 6 will dive into the Ramen Duelist, which you can only imagine what kind of cards we'll see. But that about wraps things up. I just wanted to do a quick recap and review of the first few episodes, given that they've been out for quite a while, and I kind of just wanted to give a little shorthand of what happened. As I stated, they've been out for quite a while. I'm kind of late to the party, but now that I'm caught up, I'm going to review all of the content as a regular week-to-week episode once it comes back, and we'll dive a little more in depth of the episodes instead of rushing through them. So I hope you enjoyed this rush review. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and let me know what you guys think about Rush Duels and what you guys think about Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s. Do you like it? What's going on? How do you feel about it? That pretty much wraps it up for me, so that's Scapegoat out, and I hope you guys have a nice one. Bye.